Now let us solve the question number 7, which says that consider 4 events P, Q, R and S. If any of P and Q occurs, then either R occurs or S doesn't occur. So if any of P and Q occurs, so either R occurs or S doesn't occur. Okay. If exactly one of R and S always occurs. Okay. So any one of R and S always occurs. Which of the following is necessarily true? Okay. So I can say that as I can write P, Q, R, S as a set. So I can say that P, Q, R, S as a set. Okay. Now the question says that P, if any of P and Q, so any of P and Q means P union Q. Okay. And R occurs or S doesn't occur. So R as R and S doesn't means S complement. As there is OR, so I can say it as union. Okay. Now any of R occurs or S doesn't occur. Okay. Now it says that if any of P and Q occurs, then either R occurs or S doesn't occur. So I can say that P union Q is a subset of R union S complement. Okay. Now it says that if exactly one of R and S always occur. So any one. So it says that if exactly one of R and S always occurs. So I can say that R union S is equal to universal set U, where U is the universal set. Okay, universal set. Now observe that if something that is X belongs to S complement. Okay. Now if S belongs to S complement, as S complement always is a subset of the universal set U, I can say that X belongs to U. Okay. So X belongs to U. Now U is equal to R union S, right? So X belongs to R union S. Now observe that X belongs to S complement means X does not belong to S. Now if X belongs to R union S and X does not belong to S, I can say that X belongs to R. Now observe that I choose this X from S complement and I showed that X belongs to R. So I can say that S complement is a subset of R. Right? Now observe from this. P union Q is equal to, we already observed that P union Q is a subset of R union S complement, and R S complement is also a subset of R. So I can say that as a subset of R union R. Now R union R is equal to R, right? Now, and we also know that Q subset of P union Q. As for any set A is a subset of A union B for any set B also. Okay, so I am using that fact, Q subset of P union Q. Now P union Q is a subset of R, and hence I can say that Q subset of R. If taking complement both sides, I can write R complement is a subset of Q complement, as if A subset of B, if we take complement from both sides, then it will imply B complement is a subset of A complement. Okay, so R complement union S complement. So I can say that option D is our correct option. Okay. Now let us solve the question number 8. Just a second. Now I think it is clear to all of you. Question number 8, which says that the particular solution of the differential equation log e base dy dx is equal to 5x plus 7y and y of 0 equal to 0. So we have to find out a particular solution of this differential equation. Okay, so I am writing this differential equation: log e base dy dx is equal to 5x plus 7y, right? So I can write this as dy dx is equal to e to the power 5x plus 7y, right? So I also can write it as e to the power 5x into e to the power 7y. Okay, so I can write this dy by e to the power 7y is equal to dx into 5x it is e to the power 5x e to the power 5x into dx, right? Yeah, so I can say that e to the power minus 7y dy is equal to e to the power 5x dx. Okay, now integrating both sides, I will get minus e to the power minus 7y by 7 is equal to e to the power 5x by 5 plus, so I can write it as e to the power 5x by 5 plus e to the power minus 7y by 7 plus c1 is equal to 0. Now let us see the given condition. The given condition says that y of 0 is equal to 0. So I am writing this condition, y of 0 is equal to 0. It means when the value of x equal to 0, then the value of y is also 0. So I am putting x equal to 0 and y equal to 0 in this equation. So I am writing 1 by 5 plus 1 by 7 plus c1 is equal to 0. Simplifying this, I will get the value of c1 is equal to 12 by 35, right? No, sorry, minus 12 by 35. Yeah. Now I am going to put this value in this equation. Okay. So e to the power 5x by 5, e to the power 5x by 5 plus e to the power minus 7y by 7 minus 12 by 35 is equal to 0. Now multiplying both sides by 35, I will get 7 e to the power 5x plus 5 e to the power minus 7y minus 12 is equal to 0. Now let us see the options. 7. Now you can see that 7 e to the power 5x plus 5 e to the power minus 7y is equal to 12. So option C is our correct option. As I can write it as 7 e to the power 5x plus 5 e to the power minus 7y is equal to 12. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's all about the question number 8. Now let us go to question number 9. Okay. Just a second. It is too small to watch. Yeah. I think it is clear to all of you now. Now define Aj equal to summation I equal to 1 to n I to the power j. Okay. I have had the j equal to 0, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, then we have to find out this limit. It's a very good question and very easy question also. Let us start the solution of this question. Question says that Aj is equal to summation I equal to 1 to n I to the power j. Okay, so what is A0? A0 equal to summation I equal to 1 to n I to the power 0. So we know that something to the power 0, it means it is 1. So summation I equal to 1 to n 1. So I can write it as 1 plus 1 plus dot dot 1. How many times? It is n times. So this is nothing but n. Okay. Now what is A1? A1 equal to summation I equal to 1 to n I to the power 1. So this is nothing but 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus dot 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 up to n. We know that sum of first n natural numbers is nothing but n into n plus 1 by 2. Okay. Now what is A2? A2 equal to summation I equal to 1 to n I to the power 2. So this is nothing but 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus dot dot up to n square. We know that the square of the sum of square of first n natural numbers is n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6. Okay. Now what is A3? A3 equal to summation I equal to 1 to n I to the power 3. So this is nothing but 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube plus dot 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 up to n cube. So this is nothing but n into n plus 1 by 2 is whole square. Now we have to find out the limit n tends to infinity A1 A2 by A1 A0 A3. a1 a2 by a0 a3. So this is nothing but limit n tends to infinity. I am drawing the division line. Now I am going to put the value of a1. You can see the value of a1 is n into n plus 1 by 2. The value of a2 is n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6. The value of a0 is n. The value of a1 is n into n plus 1 by 2 its whole square. Okay. So this is nothing but limit n tends to infinity, n into n plus 1 into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1, okay, into 2 square, that is 4, and in denominator we will get n into n into n into n plus 1 into n plus 1 into 2 into 6. So this is 2, this is 3, cancelling this n, cancelling this n, cancelling this n plus 1 also. So this is nothing but limit n tends to infinity, n plus 1 n 2n plus 1 by 3 into n into, oh, I can cancel another n plus 1, that is cancelling this n plus 1 and removing this. So this is by, so dividing denominator and numerator by n, I can write it as limit n tends to infinity 2 plus 1 by n by 3 into 1. So taking limit I will get 2 by 3. Now let us see the options. 2 by 3 is our option B. So option B is our correct option. That's all about the question number 9. Now let's go to question number 10. Now in question number 10 says that PQR belongs to R, that is PQR are 3 real numbers. Okay, fx is equal to px square plus qx plus r such that p plus q plus r is equal to 3. And if satisfies a condition, the condition says that f of x plus y equal to fx plus fy into a plus xy for all xy belongs to R. Then we have to find out the value of f5. Okay, so I am writing fx as px square plus qx plus r. Okay, and it is also given that p plus q plus r is equal to 3. Okay, now and if satisfies the condition, f of x plus y is equal to fx plus fy plus xy. Okay, now first of all we are going to find the value of f1. Okay, so putting x equal to 1, so in the right hand side I will get p into 1 square plus q into 1 plus r. So this is nothing but p plus q plus r. You can see that the value of p plus q plus r equal to 3. I am putting this value here. So f of 1 is equal to 3. Okay, now I am going to find out the value of f of 2. Okay, so f of 2 is equal to f of 1 plus 1. Okay, now using this condition I can write f of 1 plus 1 as f of 1 plus f of 1 plus 1 into 1. So the value of f of 1 equal to 3. So I can write it 3 plus 3 plus 1. So this is nothing but 6 plus 1. So this is nothing but 7. Okay, now we got the value of f of 2. Okay, now we are going to find the value of f of 4. So f of 4 is equal to, I can write f of 4 as f of 2 plus 2. Now using this condition I can write f of 4 as f of 2 plus f of 2 plus 2 into 2. So the value of f of 2 is equal to 7. So I can write it 7 plus 7 plus 2 into 2 equal to 4. So 7 plus 7 is 14. 14 plus 4 is equal to 18. Okay, now I got the value of f of 4. Now I am going to find the value of f of 5. So I can write it f of 5 as f of 4 plus 1. So this is nothing but f of 4 plus f of 1 plus 4 into 1. So the value of f of 4 is 18. The value of f of 1 is 3 and plus 4 into 3, 4 into 1. So this is 18 plus 3, 21, 21 plus 4, that is 25. So value of f of 5 is equal to 25. Now let us see the options. Option D is 25. So option D is our correct option. Okay, that's all about the question number 10. Now let's go to the question number 11. Now let us solve the question number 11. It says that if NC0, NC1, NC2 dot dot